in this video, I'm going to show you a geometric application of quadratics. The idea is I want you to see the thought process and an example of how to set up this geometric approach or geometric situation. So here it says you have a rectangular quilt that is 5 feet by 4 feet. So right away I'm going to draw a little picture just because it may come in handy. 5 feet by 4 feet. You want to use some extra 15 feet square of scrap fabric to add a decorative border of uniform width to the quilt. Okay, so I'm adding a border, and it says of uniform width. Okay, so that means all around it, these are all the same length. What should the width of the quilt's border be? Okay, so I'm trying to find this uniform width. And so since that's what I'm looking for, I'm going to call that X. Now, since it's uniform, that's big piece of info. That means all of these lengths here we can just call X because they're all the same. Okay, we're also given, we have extra 15-foot square of scrap fabric. So, looks like we're going to be comparing lengths and widths to area. Okay, so just a thing to remember that area is length times width. So let's see what I know. I know my old area, so the old quilt area, was 20 feet squared. All right, that's because it's 4 times 5. Now I also know my new quilt area, and that's going to be 35 feet squared. Now I know that because it's the old area plus the extra 15 feet squared of scrap. All right, so my new area is the old 20 inside plus the 15 feet scrap. Okay, now I think that will help because I can write an expression of my new quilt area and compare that to 35. So I can say my 35 is length times width, right? Area is length times width of my new quilt. So the length of the new quilt is this whole thing here, which is made up of an X, 5, and X. Right? My X border, 5 feet long, and my X border. So my length I can write as X plus 5 plus X. And my width is similar. It's going to be this X border plus the original 4 and the other X border. So X plus 4 plus X. Okay, so this is an equation that is true. So 35 should equal the X plus 5 plus X times X plus 4 plus X. Now, if we simplify this, we'll see that this is a quadratic. So we have 35 equals 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 4. And in order to solve this equation, we need to set it equal to 0 and then choose a method. All right, so let's move the 35 over. 2x plus 5 times 2x plus 4 minus 35. And, you know, this is no form right now. This isn't intercept form. It's not vertex form. It's not standard form. But we can easily put this in standard form. So let's multiply this out. And that's going to give us 4x squared plus 18x plus 20 minus 35. Okay, and then we'll simplify the last step. Minus 15. Okay, so now this is something we can solve. We could quadratic formula it, we could try to factor it, we could complete the square, we could really choose anything we want. Since, you know, applications tend to have like real numbers, like decimals or large numbers, not real numbers, but, you know, numbers that aren't perfect integers, I'm just going to go quadratic formula. So if we do that, it'd be x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, I've done all this work, so I've calculated this, and it ends up being negative 5.22 and 0.72. Okay, keeping in mind this is an application, this means that the width is either negative 5 feet or 0.72 feet. Okay, well, it can't be negative 5 feet because we're not dealing with negative feet of fabric. So it's got to be 0.72 feet wide, which multiply that by 12 is about 8.5 inches. And that seems reasonable. If you're talking about a border on a blanket, 8.5 inches is a decent border. So just to go over that process again, you want to draw a picture that has what you're currently given, which is this like 5x4 quilt. And then we're drawing whatever type of border we have. In this case, it was a nice uniform border. And then you just want to write an equation that relates some value, like in this case, our total area, or our new area, with an expression of x. And that was this step right here. The new area was the borders together with the original 5 and 4.